How to read a book a week. How to read a book a week. As cliche as it sounds, we all know that people who read succeed. I mean, look at the numbers. 85% of millionaires read at least 2 books per month, while 25% of entire American population hasn't even read a single book all of last year. So, what's the best way to actually get yourself to start reading at a good speed so that you can succeed too? Well, you can basically guarantee that you will read a book a week by taking advantage of 3 psychological tricks. 1. The first is something called implementation intention. Basically, setting an appointment. See, the biggest problem when it comes to reading is actually getting started. So many people buy books that they are interested in and say to themselves, "Oh, I definitely read this," and guess what? The books just is there on their shelf, never to be touched again. By physically writing down the time and place when you start reading a book, you are essentially setting up an appointment to do so. And think about it, you don't really miss our appointments. When was the last time you completely skipped a job interview or visit to your doctor? Sure, you might have been late, but when you set an appointment, you know that you have to show up and you usually do. To the second psychological trick, psychological tricks, reading a book a week is you to use what's called chunking, basically breaking down a big start into smaller. One of the main reasons people start reading books and never finish is because the task seems way to be too big. It feels like we can't do it. Just take a look at the Advantage non-fiction book, which is about 200 pages long. How long do you think it takes to read that entire thing in one sitting? You'll probably think 10, 15 hours maybe. Well, in reality, the average human can read a 200-page book in is about 5 hours, which means you really only have to spend 45 minutes a day reading, which probably accounts to just a chapter or two. So instead of thinking, okay, I'm gonna read tomorrow right now or lunch at home, it's much more effective to say, okay, I'll read I'll read the next chapter tomorrow after lunch at home. When you break down a book, its chapters and even further, its succession which almost no fiction books have, then your brain will no longer see it's a huge obstacle that you have to overcome. Instead of thinking, oh my god, this is gonna take forever, you will think that easy can definitely do that. 3. And finally, the last psychological trick to reading a quick is to use what's called temptation bundling. Basically, taking a task that you don't enjoy much and touching is to something that you really enjoy. For example, you can tell yourself that after every chapter or subsection or chapter you, you read, you are gonna reward yourself with the next episode or the next segment of that TV show you love watching. By doing this just a couple of times, it will actually start to feel good to read because the brain will start to associate it with something very pleasurable. It's gonna think, wow, every time I read a chapter or subsection, I feel great after. Now what you might find is that you actually start to read more chapters than you need. By combining all of these three tricks, you ended up with something like this. Okay, tomorrow after lunch at home, I'll read the next chapters of my book. And for every chapters I read, I get to watch the next segment of the new episode of Game of Thrones. Try this out, and I guarantee that all you find yourself reading a lot more. Thank you for listening. This is my video.